Groceries are one of those budget line items that feels completely out of your control. Prices keep going up, and they really have. And it can feel like you're just along for the ride, handing over more money every week with no real way to push back. But here's the thing, groceries are actually one of the most controllable expenses in your entire budget. Unlike your rent or your car payment, what you spend at the grocery store is highly adjustable. And most households are leaving real significant money on the table every single week without realizing it. The average American household spends somewhere between $400 and $600 a month on groceries, depending on family size. We're going to talk today about what it actually looks like to bring that number down meaningfully, not by eating boring food, not by couponing for 3 hours a week, but through a handful of practical strategies that just become part of how you shop.
Let's get into it.
Here's a reframe that I think is actually helpful. Grocery shopping efficiently is a skill. It's not something you're just born knowing how to do. It's something you learn. And most of us were never really taught it. We watched our parents shop, we picked up some habits along the way. And then at some point, we were just doing it on our own without ever really thinking about the strategy behind it. The stores themselves are not set up to help you spend less. The layout, the product placement, the sales signage, all of it is engineered to get you to spend more and buy things you didn't plan on. End cap displays, eye-level product placement for the higher margin items. The bakery smell right when you walk in. These aren't accidents. So the goal today is to give you a few simple frameworks that put you back in the driver's seat when you walk into a grocery store or open a grocery app, instead of just reacting to everything around you. But before the strategies, we need to start with a number. Before you can cut your grocery bill, you need to know what your grocery bill actually is. And I mean specifically, not a rough guess. Pull up your bank or credit card statements and add up everything you spent at grocery stores last month. Include the quick runs for just a few things. Include the late night convenience store stops. Include the warehouse club if you use one. Most people are surprised by the number. They think they're spending $400 and they find out it's $580. Or they think they're spending $600 and it's actually pushing $800 once they count everything. The second thing worth noting is how many trips you made. Frequent unplanned grocery runs are one of the biggest budget leaks in this category. Every time you go in for 2 or 3 things, you almost always come out with 6 or 8. Each extra trip is costing you money beyond just what you plan to buy. Once you have your real number, you have a baseline. And cutting 15 to 25% from a real baseline is a completely realistic goal. On a $600 monthly grocery spend, that's $90 to $150 back in your pocket every month, over $1,000 a year, without eating worse or spending hours on coupons. That's the target. Here's how you get there. If there is one single habit that will do more for your grocery budget than anything else, it's meal planning. Not fancy meal planning with color-coded charts, just having a general idea of what you're going to eat before you go to the store. Here's why it matters so much. When you walk into a store without a plan, you're buying ingredients that sound good in the moment. And then at some point during the week, some of those ingredients don't get used and they slowly work their way to the back of the fridge and eventually they get thrown away. The USDA estimates that the average American household throws away roughly 30 to 40% of the food they buy. Think about that. If you spend $500 on groceries this month, somewhere around $150 to $200 of that might end up in the trash. You are buying food and then paying to throw it away. Meal planning fixes this almost entirely. You decide what you're making, you buy what you need for those meals, and almost nothing gets wasted. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Even just spending 10 minutes on Sunday asking, what are we eating this week? And making a list based on that answer is enough to make a real difference. And when you build your meals around what's already in your fridge or pantry first, before making a new list, the savings compound even further. Okay, here's one of the most practical and underused tools in any grocery store, the unit price. And once you start using it, you genuinely cannot stop seeing it. The unit price is the small number on the shelf tag, usually expressed as price per ounce, per pound, or per count. That tells you the actual cost of what you're buying when you strip away all the packaging differences. Here's why it matters. Bigger isn't always cheaper. The value size isn't always the best value. The store brand next to the name brand might be significantly cheaper per ounce, or it might actually not be, depending on what's on sale. The unit price makes all of that completely transparent. You're comparing apples to apples instead of guessing based on which package looks bigger. Go to your grocery store this week and just start looking at unit prices prices on a few items you buy regularly. You will almost certainly find at least one or two things where you've been grabbing the wrong size or the wrong brand for months, and switching it saves you money on every single shop going forward. Let's talk about store brands, because there is still a stigma around them that is genuinely not warranted for most products. Store brands, also called generic or private label, are typically 20 to 30% cheaper than name brand equivalents. On certain products, the quality difference is real and noticeable. On many products, there is no meaningful difference at all. Items where the store brand is almost always just as good. Canned goods, frozen vegetables, pasta, rice, oats, flour, sugar, butter, spices, cooking oils, coffee, cleaning products, and most dairy. The ingredient list is often nearly identical. Items where brands sometimes matters more and you might want to stick with your preference. Certain condiments, snacks you have specific taste preferences about, and anything you genuinely tried the store brand of and didn't like. The approach: swap to store brand on everything, then buy the name brand only for the things where you actually notice and care about the difference. For most households, that's a short list, and the savings on everything else more than make up for it. Sales are great, but there's a right way and a wrong way to use them, and the wrong way actually ends up costing you more. The wrong way is walking into the store, seeing something on sale, and buying it because it's on sale, even if it wasn't on your list and you weren't planning to use it. That's not savings. That's spending money you wouldn't have spent. The right way is building your meals around what's on sale that week before you make your list. Most major grocery chains publish their weekly sales online or through their app before the week starts. Spend 5 minutes on Sunday looking at what's marked down, particularly proteins, since meat and fish tend to have the most dramatic sales and also make up a large portion of most grocery budgets. If chicken thighs are on sale this week, your meal plan features chicken. If ground beef is marked down, it's a good week for a big batch of something you can stretch across a few nights. You're not changing what you like to eat, you're just timing your purchases to line up with lower prices. Over time, this becomes second nature, and the savings on proteins alone can be $30 to $60 a month for a family. We touched on this earlier, but it deserves its own moment, because reducing how often you go to the grocery store might be the fastest, simplest change you can make. Here's the honest truth. Every unplanned trip is a spending risk. Most people cannot walk into a grocery store for just milk and eggs and come out with only milk and eggs. The goal is to do one intentional, well-planned main shop per week, maybe two if you need fresh items midweek. Everything else, you work with what you have. Use up what's in the fridge and pantry before it goes bad. Get creative with what's there. Working with what you have also does something interesting to food waste. When you're incentivized to use the food already in your home instead of running out to buy something new, you naturally reduce the amount that gets thrown away. The two problems solve each other. Before we wrap up, let's talk about a few things people do thinking they're saving money that often backfire. Buying in bulk on items you won't use up. Warehouse clubs like Costco and Sam's Club are fantastic for the right items, but only if you'll actually use all of it before it expires. Buying a 5-pound container of spinach because it's a great deal per ounce and then throwing away 3 pounds of it is not a deal. Bulk buying works for non-perishables, freezer items, and things you use at a very high rate. For produce and fresh items, be realistic. Extreme couponing. The viral extreme couponing videos make it look like you can fill a cart for $12. In reality, the items that have good coupons are typically brand name processed foods and household products, often things you wouldn't normally buy. If a coupon gets you to buy something you didn't need, it didn't save you money. It cost you money at a discount. Coupons and cashback apps like Ibotta or Fetch Rewards are genuinely useful when they apply to things you were already going to buy. Use them for that. Don't let them drive what you purchase. Shopping hungry. This one is old advice, but it's old advice because it's true. Studies consistently show that shopping while hungry leads to more unplanned purchases, more snack and convenience food in the cart, and a higher total bill. Eat first. It sounds almost too simple to matter. It genuinely matters. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what topics you'd like to see next. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.